The far more thrilling episode begins exactly where episode 2 ends, with Charlie Cox's character Matt learning that Karen kidnapped an AVTF member during the attack on their hideout. When it becomes clear that this hostage may not actually be a captive, things take an intriguing turn. He immediately declares that he no longer wants to be involved with the AVTF and their illegal activities. After playing around with the terrified young defector for a while, Matt's ability to read heart rates reveals that he is telling the truth and genuinely wants to stop Wilson Fisk's illegal operations, paving the way for some potent retaliation against the dishonest New York mayor. Daredevil, Born Again, and its Netflix precursor may be superhero shows at their foundation, but they also contain a lot of legal thriller DNA, which fans of the Lincoln Lawyer might love. That becomes clear in the third episode of the series, when MCU fans are reunited with Better Call Saul star Tony Dalton as Jack Duquesne, the charismatic swordsman who first appeared as a red herring for Hawkeye's mystery-centric plot. Duquesne is ready to face justice for his alleged vigilante atrocities, with Kirsten McDuffie, Matt Murdock's law firm colleague, representing him. She even interviews him at Fisk's top-secret detention camp, the same one from which Frank Castle escaped in Season 1's end credits scene, where all of the Kingpin's adversaries are imprisoned like animals in horrific conditions. Duquesne, who has always been the underdog, is already losing because the courts are obviously biased against him, and Heather Glenn, the psychiatrist in Fisk's pocket, changed the results of his interview. Unfortunately, McDuffie's efforts to protect her client are futile. Nobody is surprised when Duquesne is convicted of disguising himself as the swordsman and returned to his filthy quarters. Matt Murdock will once more need to put on his horns to combat injustice outside of the courtroom, even while our heroes may believe in the force of law and order, in addition to bringing ne'er-do-wells accountable for their crimes. Daredevil visits with McDuffie, still determined to protect his identity, to ask if she can direct him to Fisk's incarceration facility. Since she was blindfolded to safeguard the center's location, McDuffie doesn't think she'll be of much assistance. But that's not a problem for a super-powered blind man with enhanced senses. Matt and Karen are able to physically scent out Fisk's squalid jail facility, thanks to McDuffie's succinct yet useful remarks. Regardless of the inmates' willingness to assist them in their battle against Fisk, they must move quickly to try to free these individuals, because the conditions they discover there are unsurprisingly appalling. Soon after, Daredevil is discovered by the AVTF while assisting the inmates in escaping, setting up an incredible action scenario that fans have surely been anticipating. In addition to being praised for its harsh, realistic action sequences, the Daredevil IP has always stood out among the MCU audience for its realistic, street-level stakes and fully realized characters. The most well-known example is perhaps the hallway scene from Season 1 of the Netflix series, in part because it is presented as a single continuous take. The long one-take of Daredevil's prison break in Episode 3 of Daredevil, Born Again Season 2, is simply amazing. It's a masterfully done oneer. From Daredevil's batons bouncing across the room and striking villains to a now-freed swordsman using homemade weapons to hold his own, the camera is constantly shifting. The Newton Brothers' grandiose musical score is particularly appropriate for Daredevil, Born Again's biggest action sequence to yet, making it a fantastic listen as well. Karen encounters Angela Del Toro, who now bears her late uncle Hector Ayala's white tiger mantle and mystical necklace, while Matt and Jack are battling for their lives. She has come to rescue her aunt, Soledad Ayala, who was wrongfully imprisoned by the AVTF in the last episode. However, she must act quickly because the organization's leaders have approved the use of deadly force against all escapees and those attempting to release them. Fortunately, the inmates are successfully freed and taken to safety by Matt, Karen, and Angela. Given that there are now well over a dozen witnesses who can attest to the mayor's dubious activities over the previous 6 months, Matt and Karen's audacious escape plot is undoubtedly a setback for Fisk. But if anyone in New York City has established a reputation for staying one step ahead, it's the Kingpin. Fisk quickly detonates the ship containing Mr. Charles's illegal weapons shipment before Matt and Karen can return to safety. This destroys a lot of evidence of any crime and gives him more proof to blame for Daredevil and the purported vigilante plague in New York.